Hi, I'm Barbara, and I'm just so glad to be here this morning sharing with you some amazing, hot, new, ancient technologies. And Lorraine has a special guest here today, and Hattie Jane. So go ahead.
Oh, hi, I'm Lorraine. I'm from Osoyoos, British Columbia, and it's my pleasure to introduce Leanne McLean from Coronation, Alberta. She's been involved with horses for many, many, many years, I think her entire life. And she has some awesome testimonies, what she's done with the products, with the horses. And MaryEllen Mason, who's just up the road from me in Penticton, British Columbia. And she also has some stories, as her husband was involved with a small animal veterinarian. So her late husband, Rob. And so she's going to tell her story. So take it away now. Whoever wants to go first. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Leanne.
All right. So like Lorraine said, I've been involved with horses all my life. And at the time when I got introduced to Nikan, I was actually training race horses at that point. So I had a whole stable of horses that I could practice on. Before that, I used to use the products on my husband and my kids just to make sure I knew what it was going to do before I would try it on the animals. So we had everything, you name it. We had the Nikan horse blankets. I took all of the products, the back flexes, the little minis, everything that we had, and just transformed them into ways that I could put them on the horses, wraps for their legs. Like I said, the blankets, I adapted the blankets and put them products on for the shoulders. And it was totally amazing how the animals just loved it, because they were athletes, and they would go out, work hard, and then have the same kind of issues that we have as athletes, or when we, not even athletes, us, when we do something that really stresses us, we get the strains and the aches and soreness. So we would our race horses literally wore their blankets every day. So it was also preventative, because I found it was much easier to keep them sound and happy than it was to try and fix them after they were sore. In the racing world, we had horses that we would get from somewhere else or claim them, and they would usually have a multitude of problems. And so first thing we did was, fix their feet and then put on the magnetic products, and it was amazing the turnaround that we had. So for injuries, that was amazing too, like like the buck shins, like you were talking about, and there was all kinds of things that just worked. Wounds, big, huge. I have somewhere pictures of wounds of it was just amazing to watch how they would start to close in, like literally the size of a dinner plate. Wow. and very deep, like in that far in. And I would wash them every day with the Pymag water. It would just happen that Pymag water had come out at that time. So I would rinse them with the Pymag water after I treated them, and then they wore the blankets. The one in particular was on a hip, and it was huge. Like, this horse literally shouldn't have been able to even hardly walk, but with the magnets on her and doing that every day, she was totally sound the whole time. And when she was done, there was just a line there, a very faint line. So it just, the power of what these products can do is just amazing. So I just incorporated
with that particular wound. How long did it take to heal? Was it normal time, or did you find that it sped up, like the wound healing time?
Oh, way faster.
Yeah.
Like just unbelievable. In fact, I'll try and find the pictures. I have the pictures somewhere, and I documented every week. And it was just like, it went from this to this to this to this. And like, it was amazing. So I'll try and find them and forward them to you. Lorraine.
Well, and we'll actually do it again, and we'll just have that on it. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, I have them somewhere. I'm just not exact, like, you know, what, I got a new computer a while ago, so sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. So yeah, and everything from like the horses was my primary. Like I said, I used the products on, I had 2 sons and a husband that were, you know, very athletic and very active. So we use them on everybody for absolutely everything. And people used to laugh because when they'd come, they wouldn't even say they had a headache or something like that, because they knew I just stick a magnet on them or something, you know. And I never ever had Tylenols and pain medicines and stuff in the house. It was just like, you know, whacked a magnet on them and everything started to get better. So I don't know if you want to ask if anybody has certain questions or
Well, I like that you said that you use the blanket to keep them maintained rather than try to handle the injury, right?
Yeah.
So, but did you use any of the rollers or any of the,
oh yeah, we use the mag craters, the mag boys. In fact, when the palm mag come along, I made a pocket with a pin, and then I used to pin it on and turn it on and just leave it run on the horses.
Oh, wow.
Like if something had a specific problem, like say a
on the
shoulder.
outside of the blanket?
Yeah, just pin it
Wonderful.
on and it would hang there and whirl away. And when we would take the blankets off the horses and lay them down, when we were home at the stable, we have cats and stuff and a goat, and they would just go to those blankets and lay on them. In fact, we had the goat we had, his name was Joey at the time, and he was getting pretty old, so he had a few achy things too. But he would actually go right into the tack room and pull the blankets down if I hung them up. He'd pull them down so he could sleep on them. So, you know, cats and dogs and all animals and little kids just gravitate to any of the magnetic products.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's go to MaryEllen, and then if anybody has questions after, we'll open it up for questions. Go ahead, MaryEllen. Thank you so much, Leanne.
Yeah,
You're
those are great stories, Leanne. I'm the first story I'm going to share, I want to share because it's a horse one as well, but more importantly, it just happened recently. So my partner and I were out on a horse trip. We had 5 horses. We were in a place called Tombstone Park in the Yukon Territories, way up in the north. So we had 3 pack horses and 2 riding horses. One of our pack horses fell and injured its eye. It had a huge gash and on its eye, and all I had with us on this pack trip was a Nikan sport bottle. So what did I do? Like Leanne said, I just cleaned the wound probably twice a day, 3 times a day with the Nikan sport bottle. So as you know, you can fill it up with any water. We were camped next to a creek, so I would be filling up the water bottle and just cleaning the wound of that horse's eye. And I mean, I wish I did not take pictures, but for 3 days I did this, and that horse's eye is perfect. You would not know that it had a gash or anything trauma had happened to that eye. I don't think if we had have had that, Leanne, I think that horse would have lost the eye personally.
I've saved several eyes. Yeah, I truly believe that.
Yeah, so that's my first story. And then my next share is with our dog Bones. Bones is 13 years old, and this story is about prevention. So I was walking with my neighbor maybe about a month ago. Her dog doesn't get out very much, and I didn't even know how old her dog was. So I was out walking my dog, she's out walking her dog, we got chatting, and I'm like, oh, well, how old is I can't remember their dog's name, Zach. And she was going, oh, Zach is 12 years old. And I went, oh, really? And Zach really has trouble walking. He's about the same height, weight as Bones. Bones is like a 60-pound dog. And they're about the same. And then she asked me, she goes, well, how old's your dog? How old's Bones? And I said, Bones is 12. They're the exact same age. And she goes, no way. I thought Bones was like 3 or 4 or, that age. So prevention is Bones wears as a collar. He wears a Nikan sport band. He just wears that all the time as a collar, and as his leash or whatever to take him out on walks, he wears a harness instead. He uses a Nikan pet pad. So ask the person that brought you here or is talking to you about that. The Nikan pet pads are absolutely amazing for animals because they just gravitate towards them. In fact, if I showed you a picture right now, that's exactly where he is, right beside me in this room on his pet pad. And then of course the other product is the water. Bones has had nothing else since we've had him, and we adopted him as a rescue dog at 18 months old. And he's just always been on the Nikan water, but as a elderly dog now of 13 years old. And I just got asked today how old he was on our dog walk, and they're just blown away. They're absolutely blown away they cannot believe his age. He should have other issues like our neighbor's dog has, and he just doesn't. And so he lives in a pet wellness home. That's the only difference that Bones has. So those are my 2 shares with you guys. If you have any questions, my late husband, Dr. Rob Mason, was a veterinarian. He was internal medicine for small animals. He used Nikan products in his practice constantly. And when there was an issue or something that came up that he felt that, there was a Nikan application for it, he would just ask the owners if they were open to an alternative treatment for their animal. And if they said yes, then he would offer them, some different solutions that people were open to. And again, I could tell you story after story after story of different results Rob had with cats, primarily cats and dogs, because that was primarily.
Well, you want to pick 1 or 2 and share them, because I do think it's great to hear.
He had a lot of dogs with neurological issues. He would put anything neurological. He would definitely put some sort of magnetics on it. Of course, the product we would use now would be the sport band, or like Leanne was saying, if they had a harness or a collar or something, get one of our placement magnets somehow on that area. What would be, anything. Dogs recently, allergies. Dogs have allergies just like people do. And Rob would highly recommend the immunity product. Our immunity product is just 14 different kinds of mushrooms. And you can sprinkle that on their food is what he would primarily do. Or there's a lot of those pill pockets you can slip them into. But yeah, amazing results with any animals, whether they be cats and dogs with allergies, and our immunity product. Because our immunity product is an immune system balancer, right? If you have an overactive immune system or an underactive immune system, it just helps bring it back into balance. And that's what allergies are. That's our immune system being out of balance.
Huh.
So yeah, I think those would be good ones I'd share with you. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really great.
So Karen Rose works with horses too. Karen Rose, do you have any stories?
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
It's nice to hear all these stories about horses. I love hearing about animals. I worked with many animals with the products, and I have a horse. that I work with over at this Cloverfield farm. I've had up to 3 horses at one time. And one of the things about the pie water is I love the pie water for any eye issues.
Mhm.
I had one of my horses used to have appy eye all the time. And it was very expensive to use the medication to put in his eyes, and it was really hard to put in his eyes. So I started spraying. I actually got him used to the pie water, the little spray bottle. I would use the little spray bottle and spray it in his eyes, and he actually loved it. Yeah, that's it. I would spray. I love it spraying it on myself as well. It's great in the heat to spray it on your face. But I would spray that in his eye, and the appy eye would just completely disappear, and I didn't have to put all that medication in his eye anymore. Plus, it was expensive, and he didn't like it. It was hard to put in there. So the pie water was amazing for that. Any eye issues, anytime. In fact, Magic Ben had he had an eye issue a couple of weeks ago, and I just put the fly mask on, and I kept spraying the water in his eye, and it completely went away. And then I've used, I had another incident. Speaking of the pie water, I was out with a friend riding, and she had to get off of her horse, and she had to get off of her horse to relieve herself. We were out on the trail, and she said, "I'm not sure if I can get back on my horse. I might have to walk back." And she kept trying to get on her horse, and I had the sport bottle with me. And I said, "Here, Ella," I said, "why don't you drink some of this water, and maybe you can get back up on your horse." So anyhow, I gave her the water bottle, and she chugged some of the water. And just by drinking that water, she was able to get back on her horse and ride back to the ranch. So that was a huge aha for me, that just giving her, I mean, I drink the pie water all the time. And then I also use the products for myself. I had a horse incident where a horse stepped on my foot, and I was actually massaging a horse, and somebody came in and startled the horse, and the horse stomped right on my foot. And I thought, okay, Neekin to the rescue. And out in my car, I had I did have the insole in my boot. I always wear the sock, the Neekin sock, which I think prevented it from getting really injured. But I went back to the car, and I used the cetyl myristicate cream, which I love for all kinds of incidents, for anti-inflammatory, for knees and feet and all kinds of issues. So anyhow, I went back to my car, and I took the Mag Duo, and I rolled it on my foot, and I took the cream, the cetyl myristicate cream, and rubbed my foot with it. And the next day, the inflammation went totally down. I had no inflammation, and I could hardly walk on that foot back to the car. So it would have been I wouldn't be able to walk if I didn't have these products. So, and I have many, many other instances with dogs and cats and many animals that I've had in my life, but I'm just very grateful to have them and have them around to use. And I always say Neekin to the rescue with myself and my animals. So
It's amazing. And we're always amazed with all the different things that Nikan and these technologies can do. And they're natural, they're non-invasive, they can't hurt you, can only help you. And what better way, because animals don't do placebo, they just take it on and do and use. So Leanne, is there anything you'd like to share? One more share?
Sure. I just wanted to say we used to do when Nikan had the horse blankets and all that, we used to do a very powerful demonstration at our expos and events and stuff like that using the horses. And it was like, it made believers of a lot of people, because like you say, there's no placebo. I can't tell the horse, okay, act sore, and okay, now don't act sore. So it was truly amazing. And the last little thing I would share is the little I went from thoroughbred, big thoroughbred race horses to now I drive ponies. And my one pony come to me And she had been, I don't, if you're not a horse person, you don't understand, but anyways, she had been nerved at her tail head so that she couldn't swish her tail. And and that had gotten an infection in it, and literally she had no use of her tail anymore. She was brought up here to Canada by a friend of mine from down south, and he didn't realize this was a problem until he got her up here. It was starting into winter, and he basically brought her to me because he thought she'd heard it in the trailer. But when she come, we found out that like this is what had happened to her. Her tail was like mush. She couldn't swish it. She couldn't even lift it to go to the bathroom. And so basically he gave her to me because we had a heated arena. He said, if I take her home, she'll have to, be euthanized because, she would literally have a block of ice on her bum the whole time. So I played around and put magnets down her spine, around her tail head, and did that, used to mag boy her a couple times a day. And she was a very grumpy little horse, which I guess she had a right to be. But yeah, after that was October. So about January, all of a sudden, we started to see some movement in her tail. And at first we all thought we were seeing things, it was like, I think I seen Sassy's tail move today. Everybody was all excited. And fast forward on, now today she has full use of her tail and is, just amazing. So that was probably because nerves sometimes will regenerate, but that was pretty amazing to me that one come around as well as it did. So that's it. I'm like MaryEllen,
awesome.
a million stories.
That's awesome. And MaryEllen, I'm gonna ask you one more as well, but I actually have a share. And I was up in the Northeast and this lady had mini horses, but she had a little Welsh pony and he was grumpy and old and just her little guy. And she just wanted to keep him around longer. So I'm with my sister and I said, well, the best thing that I know is we can roll him out. Let me take the creator and roll him out. Can't hurt him, can only help him as long as he'll let me next to him. Yeah. And so this lady let me in and she was totally blown away. It was less than 10 minutes of just doing it along his little spine. And you could see him just going, like wanting more of it and areas. And then I did a few of the legs and but it's amazing what these technologies can do. And you can see instantaneously how well it helps him. And she said he was not grumpy for like 3 days. And what did I use? What do I need? So we talked more about what to use on him and what you'd be willing to do. There's two different things because we have tangible products like our mag flexes and things. I'll get mine out real quick. And we have things that roll and spin, and that's the mag do it. So these you could drape on, and Hattie Jane's got ways of putting shoestrings on here. So can you imagine shoestringing them on both sides of the horse's spine? That would be pretty awesome, or the shoulders or over that injury that you were talking about. And then you've got the mag duos as well that are spinning, and the creator. We've got all amazing things. So MaryEllen, is there anyone other? Thank you, Lorraine, for holding that up. Any other one you want to share?
Well,
Maybe
on that, so on that same trip, like I had not ridden a horse this year. And so not riding a horse this year and going on a horse riding trip for a week, that thing you just showed, Barbara, if you could hold it up again, the Kinko Mag Flex, that I believe it saved me and it saved the horse. So I actually put it sitting on it. And so I believe the horse benefited from that. And I know I definitely benefited from that. So for you horsey people, you know, if you haven't ridden a horse in over a year and then suddenly you jump on a horse and not only are you riding a horse, but you're riding it for a week. in 4-hour stints. So I think the products are absolutely outstandingly amazing. I don't know any athlete that could do that. Just jump on a horse, having not ridden one for over a year, and go on a horse riding trip for 7 days, and not be stiff and sore and crippled by it, actually. So yeah, the fact that just having one of those little things, and
Yeah, and prevention, because you know my sister just got back from a horse trip out west, and she on the third, they did a 3-nighter overnight, but they were at this ranch. But on the 3-day overnighter, she pulled her mid back, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it was just excruciating." And she didn't have anything with her, but when she got home, she dug and found her magnetics to put on her to help her mend. But I'm like, always bring it with you.
Actually,
Take it.
I lied, Barbara, because I did have the Nikan sleeping bag with me as well.
Oh,
So
nice.
for those of you that
Has all the
did our
technologies.
I did actually, yeah. And yeah, so that in a tent, that's what I slept in at night. Middle of nowhere. I was in my Nikan cocoon, and definitely using the flex when we were riding during the day. So amazing, absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to be with you guys and share. I tell you, you just don't know all the things that we're preventing when you're using these technologies. That's for sure. So get with the person that invited you, and you know, I always say, kick the tires, get the information, try them out, use a few things, and the why.
Yeah, and if people have questions, they can definitely reach out to the person that's listening to this, and reach out to me by email or telephone. Lorraine has my information.
Yes, we'll get with you, and we'll get with the other people, and that way you can answer the horse or animal questions personally.
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right.
If I may say something, Monday night, September the 12th, Sherry Danzig's story time will be all about pets and how they have responded to our technologies.
So
that's
I'm
a
going to end the
good-
recording right now. Thank you, Barb. Hold on one second, guys, and then we will do that. Thanks.